We'll just dive off into it. All right, you ready there, Hefe?
Yes. Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Dive Bomb Industries. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
That is right.
You know, I did our football totals for the week before when I was gone.
Yeah.
I was 3-10 the week I was gone, or the week before. The guest was 5-8, and you were 6-8. Absolute trash.
Yep.
So 3-10 is the worst anybody's done all year long. Jacob Britton was second worst at 5-8. John Manny Manuel was a whole lot better than Jacob. So with us today from, are you in Arkansas or are you in Missouri?
I'm Arkansas.
You're at home.
Yep, home at my house.
The man who loves Whataburger, who loves Arkansas, Mr. Ashur Tolliver.
It's been a minute, Ashur.
Yeah.
Good to be back with you guys. Appreciate you having me on.
What's wrong with Arkansas's football team this year? Y'all got that big stud quarterback, and I thought y'all were going to be really good this year.
Man, I think we all did. I think the whole state did. It's been a big letdown, to say the least. I think Sam Pittman's a wonderful guy, but I don't think he's just. I don't think he's the guy for the SEC. I don't think he's the guy that goes into these 4- and 5-star athletes' homes and can vibe with them and convince them to come play football in Fayetteville. I think he's a great guy, but I think it's just showing that his recruiting is I feel like you got to have some edginess to you these days with the whole NIL stuff, and I feel like he's a little bit dated.
Right.
And right out of the gate, the quarterback running back combo was supposed to be one of the best in the nation with KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders, and Rocket gets hurt right out of the gate, and it just seemed to kind of throw everything off, and they just haven't been able to figure it out. And it's not like they've just been getting crushed. I mean, every single loss has been a one-score loss, so they just as easy could be 500 in SEC play. But I don't know. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. When you're losing, you're losing. And I think Sam's time as the head hog on the hill hopefully has come to an end. I think we need somebody that can create some excitement up there. But the Cowboys are they're playing well, which is fun. They're not our hometown team or anything like the Razorbacks, but being from Arkansas, we tend to gravitate, a lot of us, toward the Cowboys. A few people up in the northwest part of the state, the Chiefs or whatever, but most people in the state seem to be Cowboys fans, and they've been fun to watch this year. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to make a lot of noise in the playoffs, but
it'll be typical Dak in the playoffs. Hey, so let me ask you about the NIL with baseball, because with baseball, it seems like a lot of the studs come out at high school, but now kids are making. I don't know how much money college baseball players are making, but I know college football players are making a lot of money. Would that drive a high school athlete to be like, no, I'm going to play in college a little bit longer and maybe make some more money before jumping into the pros and possibly not making it?
Without question. There's no doubt about it, man. The NIL is I think it's cool. I mean, I don't think that these universities should be able to profit millions and millions off of these athletes and they're not being compensated for it. So I think the NIL is cool, but it's just kind of going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. It's kind of a slippery deal. I'm glad I'm not the one in charge of the rules and regulations for it, but absolutely, man. I think it's a great opportunity for guys, particularly in baseball, to say, you know what, I'm going to go to LSU or I'm going to go to Arkansas and I'm going to hopefully increase my draft status over a few years. I'm going to have fun time in college, get a good education, but shoot, now I can go and get paid. And some of these, baseball is going to definitely be on the lower end. I mean, now if you make it to the big leagues, you can certainly be on the upper end. But as far as college athletes, I mean, everybody knows where there's a few I mean, Arkansas baseball is amazing. They do generate a ton of revenue, but I mean, everybody knows where the money's coming from, and that's football and, number one, and then basketball is coming in. So those are the athletes that are going to be making, the most money, but there's still some opportunity for these stud baseball players to pass up an opportunity to go play in the minor leagues and make some money while they're in college, man. And shoot, I wouldn't blame them a bit for it. College is an amazing experience. I mean, that guy Paul Skeens from LSU, I mean, God, what he did. I mean, he went to Air Force and he transferred to LSU and just an absolute beast. And geez, he'll probably be in the big leagues next year. But hell, I think he's was dating Livy Dunn, or
yeah, his life's good.
I don't know if he still is, but I mean, I imagine he's made a chunk of change, and he certainly made it in the draft, and he's going to make a whole lot more over the next 15 or 20 years if he can stay healthy. But the NIL is a cool thing, especially for these skill positions in football.
I'm really mixed on a lot of this stuff. I feel like Dabo sometimes. My thoughts and Dabo's the same. NIL's killed Clemson. Absolutely has killed Clemson. And he's the first one to complain about it. And I don't blame him. He was on top of the world, him and Alabama both. And it lost their bargaining chip they had and their leverage of being a top program to everybody getting paid to play. I don't know how much it's going to translate into baseball, because baseball does not make money for universities. That's the bottom line. It's not being rude.
Right.
That's just that's the reality of the whole situation. Baseball, college basketball doesn't make any money either. You take a team like Duke, if the ACC was to realign, nobody would want Duke. The number one basketball program in the world just about, and nobody would be interested in having Duke. Big 12 don't want them. Pac-12 don't want them. I mean, they're not the Big 10. Nobody wants a basketball school because there's no money. Like when they was doing realignment in Kansas, it just won a national championship. If Georgia was up for realignment, everybody'd be going to get Georgia because of the football. Nobody cares about college basketball money-wise. There's a lot of fans, but they don't generate money. So what kind of money is NIL baseball players making, like that Skeen guy? How much money do you think he was making at LSU? Because his girlfriend's making a whole lot more money than he makes.
Oh, yeah. Man, I don't know. I'm not sure, ins and outs of any deals he had, but, the opportunity for these guys to get on board with energy drinks or apparel, whether it be Nike or Under Armour or whoever's cleats they're wearing, gloves, Mizuno, or it's basically the same way the big leaguers have been doing forever, except now the guys in college can do it. Instead of just having to wear a team issue Nike uniform because that's what your university wears. If somebody comes and says, hey, we're going to pay you X amount of money to wear and pump this cleat right here. This is what we want the kids, the youth ball players wearing, and we want you to wear this cleat right here, and we're going to pay you this much money to wear it. So really it's just the same thing that the pros are doing, except now the guys in college have the opportunity to do it. But man, to answer your question, I don't know, man. I'd have to Google search it. I mean, I would imagine these top guys are doing okay, but unless you're just an elite arm or Dylan Cruz type of guy, the LSU guy that I think he went first overall. No, him and Skeens went 1 and 2. I think he went 1 and Skeens 2, both out of LSU. But I don't think it's like widespread. These baseball players are just making bank. But I think if you're a guy, an elite guy, say some big arm coming out of some high school in Texas, kid throws 100, they know he's going to be a first rounder, but Texas A&M says, hey buddy, we can come up with some serious money. Next thing you know, they've got money comparable with what that kid's signing bonus was. So basically his years of playing in the minor leagues are playing in the SEC at A&M for 3 years. Next thing you know, he gets drafted, shoots up to AA. He's in the big leagues in 2 seasons. So instead of being, 18 and getting drafted, and not to say there's a lot of big leaguers that, I don't want to say a lot, but there are guys that become big leaguers by their 20s. 19, 20, a handful. But most guys, they take some grooming in the minor leagues. Well, I mean, I'm here to tell you, baseball in the SEC and throwing to aluminum bats, that ain't no joke. So you do your grooming in the SEC for 3 years, and you talk about being ready to make that next step, and you're getting paid while you're doing it. So
this says here he was making about $250,000 a year from NIL deals.
So he's making $250,000 a year. That's better money than the minor skiing guy.
Skeens.
Oh gosh, then the minor leagues, my goodness, yeah. I mean, make a couple grand a month. You know,
so. when you were playing and you went from did you go from AA or AAA to the majors?
I went from AA.
Okay, what kind of money were you making? I'm going to ask you a personal question here. I'm not your accountant, so what kind of money does a AA guy make in a week?
Well, you know, they signed a thing a few years ago that actually got these guys paid more money. They paid them, has more guaranteed money in it. Again, this is something else I would have to look at, but I do know it happened because there was a big lawsuit from a bunch of old former players, basically showing the hours that people were putting in, breaking down to what they were making. And it made out to be like, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was like below $5 an hour, $6 an hour. The time that guys were spending, putting in at the park, you know, bus rides, all that stuff combined. It was insane what they were making per hour. But man, back when I was in AA, I'm sure they're making more now, but a week or a month, I was probably, well, before I became a free agent. So after you play 5 years, you can sign a new deal. So you could sign with anybody else. So then you can start making more money. But I'd say before I signed that free agent deal and just got up to AA, when I was still on my original contract from being drafted, man, probably about $1,700-1,800 a month.
So what was your first paycheck in the majors then when you got bumped up? Because you get major league minimum.
Oh shoot, man. I don't know. Prorated, whatever, $600,000 divided by 162 games. For 2 weeks.
That's a big difference.
So, you get your first time was just you got up for 2 weeks then, because a buddy of mine that played pro football told me when he was on the practice squad, it may have been Duck might have been telling us this. You know, he's making $1,500 a week on the practice squad. Then you get one game check and you make $35,000. So every other week you were getting a big check because you were back and forth to being active and not active. So you were making $600,000 a year to play in the majors was the minimum. And they divided that by 162 games, which would be $2,000. Shit, I can't even do $1,000 a game, basically. No, it would be more than that. It would be $3,000 a game, $3,500 a game. So in 2 weeks, if you played 10 games, you made $35,000 for 2 weeks.
Oh, we'd have probably played every day. You can only have a couple off days a month, so you probably played 13 games in 2 weeks.
You made $40,000.
Yeah. Which was pretty sweet when you weren't making nothing. I mean, my first year and when I got drafted, I mean, my first check, I was feeling tough. And I think I got like, I don't know, like $550 or something. You know, so yeah, that was cool. I mean, my wife was working for the state. I had a $120,000 house that she was pretty much was paying the mortgage on it. So God bless her. She allowed me to chase that dream until I got 5 years in and was able to actually start making some money. So then for the next 5 years, I made some money.
That's an amazing note to think about that when you go from making $1,700 a month to in the majors, do you get paid every 2 weeks? Is that how, did you get game check once a week or every 2 weeks?
Yeah, maybe like the 14th and the 30th or something.
Sure, honey, are you going to put that 1,700 in your account? Oh, baby, it's 85,000 for this month.
That's right. That's right. You know, and what else was cool is the 2 years that I was up in 16 and 17, both clubs that I was with made it to the playoffs, and then the Astros won it. So then you get playoff shares. So every time they advance, I think I'd have to look it up. I've said that like 3 times already. It tells you how much I know about this stuff. But what they do is every round they advance, I think they take the attendance, ticket numbers, and divide it all out. And that's how they determine the playoff shares. So you've got quarters, eighth shares, quarter shares, half shares, full shares. There goes Kelly. So I got playoff bonuses in 16 and 17, both, which was really cool too.
So
it just worked out that I was happened to be on good teams.
What a cool life. We followed after Andy ripped on baseball umpires. What'd you say? They don't do shit? Is that what you
No,
said?
managers. Okay, so hold on a second, because I'm going to get you in on this.
He was involved because they brung him in on the podcast page.
Jeff, in his chauvinistic ways, he does not believe that a female is capable of being smart enough to manage.
I never said she wasn't smart enough. I said there's no place for a woman to be a manager in baseball, and I'll stick to that shit. We don't need a manager there. We don't need one coaching football, being an NBA coach, and I don't give two shits about NBA, and hockey. There's not a spot for a woman to be. She never played the game at that level. She should not be a coach, bar none. I stick to that. A guy called me a chauvinist pig, and I said, oink, oink, my man. I stick with that, and I am.
But what I said is she's already an assistant for the Giants, okay? She's already in the clubhouse. So that cat's out of the bag. She's already coaching major league players. I think what she's doing now as an assistant coach is probably harder than what a manager would do, because she's handling the day-to-day. She's on the front line, whereas the manager,
they fired the manager.
He's there to chew bubble gum and make a pitch and change.
Okay. Asher, does a woman need to be coaching the baseball team?
But hold on.
I'm just now. Hang on, the managers they got a lot more responsibility than that. They don't just make the lineup. And hey, I tell you what, have you watched any of this postseason?
Yes.
Baseball. I mean, October baseball is pretty fun. It really is. It's not very fun to watch during the season. I'll be the first one to admit that. 162 games can be pretty painful, but when you get to October and every pitch means something, it's pretty cool. I tell you what, them guys have some very, very difficult decisions to make when it comes to the analytics and matchups of guys that they've got down there in the bullpen and guys that they've got coming up to the plate in certain situations. So, man, as far as knowing who your guys are in your lineup and your everyday guys, who's going to hit where, they've had 162 games. They pretty much know who their guys are. They might have a couple areas they flip-flop, but when it gets to like crunch time of the game, and in the playoffs, crunch time might be in the second inning. You might have to determine, does this starter have to go? We have first and second, no outs. We're facing a dude that's got a 1.5 ERA. If we give up 3 runs right here, this game might be over. So having to understand who you're facing, how hot they are, what that guy looks like that night. I mean, if he showed up with his A+ stuff for the first 2 innings and he's throwing 100 miles an hour and painting, say, boys, it's going to be a long night. We might have to make a move now. So, man, I would say over the course of the regular season, I mean, don't get me wrong, being a big league manager is exceptionally stressful. Late game management, player management, handling egos and different attitudes can be quite a challenge. But, man, postseason management it's pretty serious, man. It's pretty intense. I can't get on board with you on that one about just sitting back and filling out a lineup, because this time of year, one bad decision and that's it, man. You just lost the whole series and you're going home and everything you worked for 7 months is gone because you put the wrong guy in because they didn't match up well with the guy coming to the plate.
Let me quote Andy, okay? Andy says all he does is chews gum and taps his arm for the next guy in the bullpen. But he's given credit to this woman who is Gabe Kapler's assistant, and they fired his ass because he couldn't win.
What I'm saying is that assistant coaches, they're in it. I feel like they're more balls deep in it because they're working with the players.
You think she's balls deep is what you're saying?
Well, that might have been a bad analogy. But
I'm going to ask you, Asher, do you think a woman needs to be the manager of a Major League Baseball team? And out of the 3 of us, only one of us has played Major League Baseball. Do you think men are going to gravitate towards her and follow her? I don't think it happens.
I don't think a woman needs to be a manager of a Major League Baseball.
See, we're on the same page. Now, Andy, I know that you are this liberal flat earther here, and you think that
that's not it.
And I think that
I just think if she's already there,
Bruce Bochy does more than tap his arm and chew bubble gum.
Apparently so. If you listen to the Major League player, then I guess so.
If I was the Giants, what I would do is I would be calling Dusty Baker to see if he wants to come manage.
They've already hired somebody.
The Giants did?
Yeah.
And it wasn't her?
No.
She didn't get smart move.
She didn't get it.
Hey, I'm sure there's some nights in May or June, when you got a healthy let's see who's just been absolutely dominant. Spencer Strider, the guy for the Braves. Get to June, you got a healthy Spencer Strider out there. You got a good offense. They could probably do a lot of gum chewing and tapping because Spencer ain't coming out of the game. They're up 9-0 in the 7th inning. Oh, okay, we'll give this guy an inning. We're up. Yeah, it can be pretty easy. Yeah, that's not me saying 162 game. It's fist clenching. You got the right dude out there on the right night. Yeah, Maverick could manage. My 7-year-old could manage him, but that's not what they get paid for. They don't get paid for a Cy Young Award winner to go out there and throw a complete game shutout, and they don't have to do anything. They get paid to make the decisions that ultimately lead in maybe putting that pinch hitter in against this guy because he had some history, and guy hits a 2-run double, to right center in the 8th. That's what they get paid for. So,
but aren't they relying on their assistant coaches to be like, hey, we got this guy, you get a good team around you. They got a lot of
analytics for sure. I mean, they've got iPad. I mean, if you look in the dugouts, they've got big old iPads in there. They know everything about you. They might as well know what time you took a dump that morning. I mean, they literally know as much as you know about the pitchers, they know about the hitters that they're coming up to face. So it's a big chess match that, just the casual viewer, they just see ball one, strike one, whereas the game within the game is exceptionally deep, a much deeper level than see ball, hit ball. I'll tell you that. There's a lot going on within these matchups and the reason for decisions that guys make at certain times. And sometimes it could just come down to just a good old baseball 50 years ago and had a hunch in this guy, and he brings him in off the bench and he goes yard. But these days they're not doing a lot of that hunching. They've got the numbers, they got the iPads, and they've got some Harvard or Yale or Brown graduate that's in their analytics department that they've got very, very detailed information on certain strategy for that game or that series. But at the end of the day, the reason I say no on a female, not because she's a female, but at some point there has to be some baseball instinct, some intuition. And a lot of these guys that are old school guys, baseball lifers, guys that's been around the game or played at every level, manage different personalities, different types of people, they're going to be more equipped to handle the situations from the course of February to October than somebody that hasn't been through that. I mean, it's just really as simple as that. It's not against a female, but she hasn't been there.
You don't have to explain. We know.
I'm not a big believer on having any of these analytics or Harvard grad guys be the manager of these teams. I think you need to keep baseball guys in that position, and you let those guys do what they do best behind the scenes, and that's pass the information along to the baseball guys. Mm-hmm. And you just combine the best of both worlds. You add some instincts with some analytics, and you look at a guy like Bruce Bochy. I mean, the guy's he's a winner, and he's a great manager.
It'd be kind of like setting up a decoy spread based off of analytics, or or picking a field based off of just analytics rather than having that hunch that.
So you're with me and Ashur now.
No, I'm just saying. Okay. I'm relating. Right. I'm relating.
Baseball needs more Don Zimmers, Tommy Lasordas, Joe Torre type guys that played back in the day, grew up in baseball, and understand baseball. That's the problem. What robbed me as a sports fan this year on baseball, and I'm not a big baseball fan at all, but I have watched a little bit of the World Series, and I watched the Astros Texas series a little bit.
I found that more interesting than the World Series.
So far, it has been, yes.
Which, I mean, it was 1-1. The series is tied tonight, playing tonight, but
we as fans lost out on getting to see whatever the hell the Chinese guy's name is that I can't pronounce, Shanjo Antonio or whatever the hell his name is. What's his name?
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, that's the guy right there. You pronounce it a little better than I do. Anyways, I wanted to see what kind of contract offers he was going to get if he wouldn't have got hurt. He would have made $70 million a year.
Well, what's sad is the Angels have had the two best players walking the face of the earth.
Yes.
On their team and they can't figure out how to surround them with winners. I mean, look at the Diamondbacks. Like they're two setup guys. They're two like arms coming out of the bullpen are two dudes I played with with or against or in the fall league and AA, AAA, and both exceptional guys, but neither of them were like dudes that were like, this guy is a dude, like a bona fide dude. These are guys that just grinded, stuck around, got, pitched well, and, have contributed when their name's been called and they've gotten hot and they're go-to guys. And look at what the Diamondbacks are doing. It's not like they've got, their rosters is full. Christian Walker, he's a great player, played at South Carolina, their first baseman, but I mean, he was a good player in the minor leagues, always just been pretty solid big leaguer, but not like Matt Olson, of the Braves. But I mean, they figured out how to put this team together, and I've got a manager that knows how to work them. They got analytics guys that are helping them make good decisions, and they're in the World Series. And the Angels got the two best baseball players on the face of the earth, and they can't even get within. God, I don't even know how many games below 500 they were. They've just been awful.
I'll tell you what the problem with baseball is, or one of the problems is, the people that love baseball watch it all the time. I'm a sports fan, so I keep up with a little bit of everything. If you gave me $20 million today and you said, Jeff, I want you to name 5 players that are playing in the World Series right now, I couldn't do it. I could not tell you 5 guys that are playing in the World Series. I know the Garcia guy that hit the home run for Texas. I know that Chapman guy that's the closer that throws 175 miles an hour, but he's dangerous. He's liable to walk you more than he's going to strike you out. And that's really about it.
Josh Young from Tech.
I didn't even know him until you said that's 3. But I don't know any of the players. I mean, I know none, and I'm a sports guy. And that's where baseball, I think, has got a problem, is there's a lot of sports guys like me that don't know nothing about baseball no more because it takes so freaking long. And to watch a game is I just cannot. I have a hard time watching it. But October baseball is better than any other baseball. I will agree with you 100% on that, because there's something at stake. Like, I didn't care if Texas won or Houston won. What do you think they need to do?
What do they – and I've thought about this a lot. It's a long – 162 games. Is it just because they're so greedy they want to make every penny they can? Like, what would it hurt taking it back to 60 games, not playing as much, cutting your rosters down some, where you don't need as many starters? Like, how could you – I'm not saying do this, but I'm just saying for people that are non-baseball people – like, do you think 60 games and you play 3 days a week? Like, what?
I don't know, because I like baseball starting up in the spring, and I like the postseason in the fall. Like, October is the greatest month for a sports fan, because you got the baseball, you got the conference championships, and you got the World Series, you got football. Right. If you're into basketball starting up. So like October's the month.
I don't think baseball can change anything, because you'll get rid of the traditionalists that are the backbone of baseball. If it's me and I want to do something stupid, I'd say, hey, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to paint this red out in the outfield. If you get a home run there, you get 3 runs, or do something to change it. But there's nothing. Dumb. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing you can do to change the game.
They have, though. You got the pitch clock. You got, they've sped it up.
It's still
as much as they can.
It's still 162 games and that stuff, but you can't take that away, because it's TV money. They don't want to give up TV revenue. I don't think baseball can do anything. Baseball was great because baseball is the best sport for radio. Baseball was meant to be my grandpa fishing or working in his garage, listening to the Kansas City Royals in Kansas, because that's what every time we'd go up there, if the Royals were on, he was listening to it on the radio.
Well, when we were driving back, we listened to the Astros Rangers game on the radio, and it was great.
Yes, it's a great radio sport. Better than anything else. And I think that's one thing that's hurt baseball, is it's not people don't listen to radio no more. Everybody wants to watch it on TV. And I just think it's a better sport for radio than it is TV.
That's fair enough.
Did you watch?
I was just curious what you guys thought. Maybe just settle to the fact that baseball is just
too long,
kind of boring, for most people.
But the people that love it. I mean, it's a
yeah. Sure.
Did you watch any of the Astros Rangers? Did you watch that series?
I watched a little bit. Yeah, it was an incredible series. Golly, there was just an insane amount of talent. Garcia, my gosh, you kidding me?
I don't understand why they threw the pitcher and him out. Number one, that one, what was it, game 5, I think, whenever the pitcher hit Garcia.
Yes.
You had one runner on for sure, maybe 2. Like, you're not going to hit him intentionally.
There's a guy on second.
Just because he took you yard before, like in that situation, you're not going to hit him on purpose. I wouldn't think.
That was absolutely ridiculous. In a game of that magnitude, in that spot in a game, that's not where you retaliate on somebody. You carry that over next year.
Right.
You can take that into spring training. You can take it to next season. No way, 0% chance. If anybody thinks otherwise, they're just totally out of their minds. You do not get to that point in the season and that high leverage of a dude. 2 runs is nothing. That is nothing in the big leagues. 2 outs, nobody on, guy hits a single, bomb. No way they would ever do that in that situation. That was absolutely crazy. Dusty Baker had every right to be as upset as he was because his guy got tossed, and he's saying, guys, are you kidding me? Like, do you really think we would do that now? And then he gets tossed. Right. And it was pretty cool that they came back. I mean, that had to have been a great feeling, to get tossed and the guys are coming in and you're high-fiving, that's always fun. We did that in the minor league. Some skipper would get tossed late and you find a way to come back, bid walk-off or something. He's fired up, meeting everybody. That was always great. But that was ridiculous. That was just totally – I mean, they're humans too, and they mess up. And maybe in the moment they saw the excessive celebration and they're like, yep, and then if they make the call, well, can't really go back on it. You just kind of got to stand behind it. Yeah, but it was certainly an awful call. And anybody that says that was on purpose is not they don't know baseball. Not in a game of that magnitude.
Right. I don't even know baseball all that great, and I can tell you right now, you're not hitting that guy just because he took a yard in that situation. Mm-hmm. And like I've talked to you enough, like you're like, listen, these things will carry over. Like if the series is over and we got a beef, like we'll catch you on the next series. Like we don't have to just get you right now. Like this shit, there's a long memory among baseball players. Right.
You think that some of that though was some recourse from being? It was a Cuban kid pitching and a Cuban kid that got hit, right? Aren't they both from Cuba?
Man, the Latin American players, that's how they celebrate. Man, they get fired up. Pitchers. They do the same thing. I mean, we American players probably don't show quite as much emotion, but if you saw Corey Seager the other night, I mean, he was pretty fired up. He didn't do all the theatrics after he got out of the box, but that's pretty common for Latin American players. And honestly, to hit a homer in that spot, was it a little excessive? Sure. But if I was pitching, and I'm not even a guy that would show a lot of emotion, maybe like a or a little short fist pump here and there, but say you have bases loaded, 1 out, and you get back-to-back punch outs or something as a pitcher, like, dude, your adrenaline's through the roof, and you are just so excited and so relieved that you escaped that situation, not just for you, but for your team and your city and every fan around the world watching your team. So, I mean, these guys are on a huge stage, and Latin American players, they have this is not said in a bad way. A lot of them have really big personalities, and they love the game of baseball, and they celebrate big, and their pitchers do too. And some American guys do too. You don't see them quite as much as the Latin American guys, but if you ever watched, that's the way they play. Like if you watch like Winter League down in the Dominican Winter League or anything like that, I mean, it's a party. Like it's a party. It's loud and guys hit homers and they're bat flipping and chest bumping, and you strike somebody out and you're staring them down as you go back to the dugout. And that's just the way they are. They don't really hold a chip on their shoulder the way we used to here in the old school game of baseball 20, 25 years ago. Now, would they retaliate for that later? Yeah, probably. But a lot of guys play like that. And when you do that in a big spot, guy's going to celebrate. If you didn't like it, what coaches always say to me, they're like, don't like it, don't give up a 450-foot homer.
I can tell you right now, if I was Garcia or that Corey Seager kid, my fat ass would be doing the Lambeau leap. I'd be the first Lambeau leap in Major League Baseball history.
Running away?
Fuck, I'd hit that home plate and I'd run up and jump in the fucking stands.
Oh.
I'd be all over that shit. Right where George W.'s sellout ass usually sets at the Ranger deal, my fat ass would splash right up in there. I'd be all up in that shit. Hell, you hit a home run in the World Series or something, you got every reason to celebrate. I don't blame that. I just was wondering that they were both Cubans, if that wasn't some bad blood that they had brung in from years before, because those guys grew up playing against each other, I think. Because I think
it probably was.
But I mean, that's just the way it is. But baseball needed the controversy in that. They need the publicity, and that was probably good for them.
Why would you pitch to Garcia right now? No one as hot as he is.
It just depends on the situation, you know. If you got an open base, probably wouldn't be a good idea to pitch to him right now.
Right.
But me as a left-handed pitcher and him as a right-handed hitter with an open base, I probably wouldn't give him much to look at. I'd probably, even with 2 outs, I'd probably pitch around him, and if he would swing at my pitch and get himself out, sure. But I'm not going to get behind 2-0 and feed him something in the zone that he can put in the seats. So,
because as a pitcher,
depends on the situation.
I mean, when you come up, you know what the guy's doing, right? So, like when you see him riding a hot streak, you're like, oh, I got to deal with this guy.
Yeah, but that's not really a mentality of any.
No
athlete at that level is thinking, man, like, dang, I got to deal with this guy.
You're
You're aware of who you're facing, but you're like, you're elite too.
right. I get to face this guy. I get to show him my stuff.
I'm going to pitch to my strengths. I'm not going to try to worry about his weaknesses. I'm going to do what I do best. And there's a lot of egos, you know, in baseball too. And egos gets a lot of guys put up in the bleachers too. Sometimes, you know, you went 2-0 and they think their fastball's enough to throw it by a guy, you know, in a hitter's count, and their ego gets the best of them. That can certainly happen as well.
It's funny that when you talk to any ex-major league baseball, like I was talking to Fergie when he was up here. The guy's a Hall of Fame, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And he had somebody that was a no-name that wore his ass out at the plate. You know, guy was a career 204 hitter, but he batted 575 off of Fergie or something. And it's crazy how the matchups, a guy that's irrelevant somewhere else could be real relevant. Who owned you as a batter?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of guys I faced a lot in the minor leagues over many years. But, I mean, if I just want to say who owned me, in my whole career in the minor leagues, I think in 10 years, I only gave up 1 home run to a left-handed hitter in the minor leagues. And I faced David Ortiz one time in the big leagues. He's left-handed, and he took me yard.
That's a good person to have do it, though.
So giving up homers to lefties is just not something I did. That's what I did well, is I got lefties out. And I thought I could get him out, and I got pretty close. I had 2 strikes, 2 different innings. You know, the inning before I had him 0-2, and the guy tried to steal. Alexander Bogaerts was on first. He tried to steal through a high fastball. Matt Wieters threw him out to end the inning. So then he's the guy I'm facing again, leading off the next inning. So he got a pretty good look at me the first, you know, time through. And then I got up on him right away again, like 0-2, and started fouling stuff off, battling, get to like a 2-2 count. And I never threw splitters or changeups to left-handed hitters. Very, very rarely, almost never in the minor leagues. Pretty much always stuck to a four-seam, elevated or away, and a breaking ball, left-handed breaking ball, left on left. And Matt Wieters calls a changeup, and he was a Gold Glover like the previous 2 years, and I didn't have much time in the big leagues, and I'm like, gosh dang, you know, like this isn't something you should be thinking about on the mound, but you can't shake off a guy like that, because so let's say hypothetically I shake him off and then I throw a fastball and I get taken yard. Right. It's not going to be a pleasant conversation in the dugout with him and Buck Showalter asking why this rookie in his first stint in the big league shook off a 10-year veteran catcher. You know, so I threw what he wanted me to throw, and bad pitch, bad location. Ended up in the flag court at Camden Yards. So I guess he's 1 for 1 batting at that 1,000, and I just didn't give up homers to lefties. So I'd say David Ortiz.
Okay. In all fairness to you, though, who did you own that was a big name that couldn't hit off you or had trouble hitting off of you?
Man, I faced Mookie Betts a lot in the minor leagues, from A-ball, AA, and even got to face him in the big leagues. Actually got to face him in the big leagues one night after he had already hit 3 homers against us. And I was like, man, I don't want to go in the record books. All I could think about was Mike Cameron when I was a kid. He played for the Seattle Mariners, hit 4 homers in a game. And I was thinking about that when I was warming up because I knew he was second up that inning. And I was like, we were losing pretty bad. It was like 8-2, like the 9th inning, kind of throwing in irrelevant. And I'm like, dang, I don't want to go down in the history books, but I've done really good against this guy in the minor leagues. And I don't know that he's ever gotten a hit off of me. I bet I faced him. He grounded out to second that night. So I didn't go down in the record books, but I bet I faced him 10 times, 12 times and between A ball, double A, and then once or twice in the big leagues. And I don't think he ever got a hit off of me.
Is he still playing?
Yeah, I think he's an all-star at the Dodgers this year.
He got an insane amount of money about 3 or 4 years ago on a contract, but I couldn't remember if he was still playing or not.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, he was when he played for the Red Sox.
Yeah, because it says here he had some problems in the postseason. I guess he went through a little slump, but yeah, he's with the Dodgers now. Yeah, he was an all-star.
Nothing better than watching the Dodgers spend all that fucking money and sitting home watching Texas and Arizona play for baseball. I love it. Him
and Freddie Freeman, man, they both were so good all season, and they just they did not show up when they needed them to.
Now, didn't you play against Trey? Is it Trey Judge? What's the Judge guy's name?
Aaron
Judge. Didn't you play against Aaron Judge?
Yeah, decent bit in Double A.
It's a big man.
Yeah, he played on the Trenton Thunder. Huge. And he was good. Don't get me wrong, he was good then, but he wasn't. I mean, most people aren't, I guess, before they become who they are, but he wasn't Aaron Judge now. He knew he could hit and he had power, but he wasn't like a guy that you're just like, dang, I gotta, got my hands full here. I felt pretty good. Like, you got your hands full with everybody. They're all good, but he wasn't a guy that you just were like, oof. No, he wasn't that. Not in Double A, he wasn't, but boy, he became that.
Don't they have rookie ball? What's the league that plays the Cape Cod League?
Those are college baseball.
That's college baseball.
So that's the best college baseball players in the nation.
Right. They go to Cape Cod and play because we were in Newport, Rhode Island, and they've got a stadium. And Michelle said, did Babe Ruth play there? And I think it was a Babe Ruth league or something. But it's a nice stadium right in Newport, Rhode Island. And I told her, I said, there's a Cape Cod League here, and I don't remember if it's minor. I thought it was minor. So it's college kids that go there for the summer and play.
Yeah. So the best players in the country, college players, whether they're from SEC, Pac-12, Big Ten, whatever, Big East, doesn't matter. They play in the Cape Cod League. If they don't now, Team USA, there's a Team USA, a collegiate Team USA team that has got a bunch of studs on it too. A lot of guys go from Team USA and go back to the Cape. But yes, the Cape Cod League is a compilation of the best college baseball players in the country.
Well, that'd be a fun place to be.
It's the best.
Oh yeah,
easily the best summer baseball for college players.
There would be some hot chicks chasing.
I had a blast out there, man. There wasn't no hot chicks out there
in the Cape. None? Seriously, I figure around Chatham and all them little uppity towns be good looking little gals everywhere.
You played for Enus, didn't you?
Yeah, man. It was lacking around there.
I just was in Hyannis this week or last week we stayed right outside of Hyannis. I love it over there.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm still really close with my host family up there. The outdoor showers, and that's kind of a deal, huh? It's a big deal out there.
Well, we had shower in our house that we stayed in. Thank God it was a little chilly, but yes.
Well, I mean, they've got indoor showers too, but the big thing up there is they've got outdoor showers, a bunch of them.
They just find a family that'll keep you up for the summer?
Yep. They find host families, and they keep you up, live with them. And
I don't know that I'd like that
experience.
I don't know that I'd like that. Going into somebody else's house and then
they treat you just like they're happy to have you there,
I guess.
And you're not living in the slums. I mean,
no.
Cape's got a lot of money.
I've had some wonderful host family experiences, man, throughout all those years, man. I've had some great host families. People that come to my wedding, when I got married and when all kinds of other stuff. Met up with them in different places. Wonderful experiences with host families. They love having people.
Did you ever go to the Kid Indy compound as a party when you lived in Hyannis?
No, I don't guess so.
Not so.
No.
I did see, I looked up the ratings because I really figured with Arizona and Texas playing that the ratings would be in the toilet. They're not. They're up actually from last year.
That surprises me.
They're averaging 13 million viewers a game, and the last 2 years it's been just under 12. So I figured Texas and Arizona would not draw anybody.
Good. Maybe some of the moves they're making are. I know a lot of baseball lifer guys really hate Rob Manfred, but maybe some of the moves he's making is attracting some new viewership.
Well, I didn't figure it would be a draw because with Philly out, if Philly or Atlanta would have been in, it would have been a lot bigger draw because the base is there. Now, Texas is a huge, huge market for everybody, and Arizona is not that big, so I figured it would be lacking. But I read an interesting deal the other day. Do you know what's going to be the number one metropolitan area by population in the United States by 2060 is going to be? L.A., New York, everyone
Houston.
Think about it. Nope.
DFW.
DFW, they say, is going to have 60 million people living. No, 40 million people will live in that area by 2060, which is going to be bigger than Los Angeles. That's crazy. They don't have the infrastructure for it.
Get out now.
You can't drive from the airport to Texas Motor Speedway without taking an hour now, which used to be about a 10-minute drive.
Wow.
Get out now.
No shit. Or buy a bunch of property around there right now and hold on to it till 2060 and make a killing off of it.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'd want to live in the Metroplex if it gets 8 or 4 times bigger or 5 times bigger than it is now. That's crazy. Switching gears real quick while we're talking sports a little bit. Do you think Dion Sanders is sure regretting what he's getting himself into now? Because his things have not went good the last couple of weeks for him or his son.
He got the bag.
I don't think he's regretting it. No one really liked him, not as an athlete or as a personality. I think some of the things he said early on, he's probably kind of like, I don't know, maybe not. He's probably not thinking that at all. In my mind, you would think that some of that stuff would come off a little cringy later on once you kind of are exposed after you play some legitimate talent. No, man, I don't think he's regretting it. I ain't got anything bad to say about Dion. I mean, the guy loves God. He gives a lot of credit to God, for being blessed and blessing his life and his family and his kids. And, so I think that's cool that he acknowledges where, his blessings come from, but he comes off, he's so, maybe just could be more respectful. I don't know. He's just,
he's very matter
he's a
of
unique
fact about it all.
Well, he threw his offensive line under the bus.
I don't know what it is. It's just, I like him. I always want to support him and like him because I feel like big picture, I like where he stands, but just like some of these little things in between, it's just kind of like, man, I wish you'd have said that differently or not. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Like there's some things that I feel like he's kind of thrown his guys under the bus a little bit at times, or kind of tried to maybe not just be, he wants to act like he's accountable for all of it, but kind of doesn't want to take accountability for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It seems like he does a little bit of that, but I don't know. I mean, overall, I'd have to say I'm a fan of him. I think I like what he's done for college football, but I wish he could just maybe just take it down a couple notches on the maybe just he says he's humble and acts humble, but actually show it,
Right. Yeah, there's times where he kind of talks out of both sides of his mouth. Like you said, like with the accountability thing, and then, saying he's going to take it all and then proceeds to throw his line under the bus.
That I didn't like that, because as a coach, you shouldn't do that to your players. All right. And if my kid was the number one offensive tackle in the country and he was getting recruited by Colorado, I'd be like, listen, I don't know that I'd go there, because first of all, I don't know if Dion's going to be in Colorado a long time, because he already come out that if the Falcons would draft both of his sons, that could get a package and him go there. Well, I don't think Dion's proved anything coaching. At Jackson State, I think he had a lot better talent than most everyone around him is. Now I don't think he has as much talent at Colorado as a lot of these teams he's playing. He's damn sure don't have the talent that Utah, USC, and all these other schools have. So I don't know how good a coach he is, and I don't know if I was an NFL owner that I'd want to hire him. I think Colorado, the smartest thing they did was hire him, and it's been good for their school, and I think he'll improve for next year. But I think if he got an offer somewhere else, I think he would jump ship pretty quick. And I don't think his son's an NFL quarterback. I think his son's a very good college quarterback. It's kind of like the kid at Arkansas. That kid's a great college quarterback, I think. I don't think that he's an NFL quarterback, though. And I don't know that Shador Sanders, is it Shador? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I don't know that he's an NFL quarterback.
I don't know. I think he is. It just, I don't know. Sometimes he never, it's like they can do no wrong, like sometimes your kids you just got to look at the facts. And sometimes you say, we all get it. We've all seen they don't have a good line.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just puts Shador on such a pedestal all the time, especially in all his interviews and stuff. It's just like those parents that their kid can never do any wrong in their eyes. And that just kind of seems like the relationship that he's got with his son, which I think is okay at times because you want to build him up. But I don't know, when you're talking to the media and stuff, I think it would be okay to, and I don't know, maybe he's doing that as like, trying to convince people how good he actually is and try to help his draft, improve his draft status or help his draft status by saying, well, if this was the case, he'd be doing this. He ain't getting the protection these guys are. So, maybe as a father that's what he's doing because he knows if he can kind of protect him in certain ways whenever, the Buffs don't perform the way they had hoped.
Right.
Maybe he can protect his draft status, So I could be totally off there, but maybe that's part of the reason for the two-sided accountability is he wants to make sure his boys are, and even he'll do the same stuff with Shiloh. He was talking about when he played the other night and how great he was playing, and he was playing an okay game, but he was saying completely dominating defense. And, I thought the hit, he knows he's got to turn his head, but he, Shiloh's good, but if you talk to him, you would think he was just an absolute force on the defensive side of the ball. And he's solid, but I don't think he's what he is when the way his dad refers to him. So
how are you going to manage that with your kids? Because now you're coaching your kids now. And so how are you going to manage that in a perfect world?
My kid plays right center field and bats ninth on a team of 10 right now. And I get on him hard. I say, hey, you want to play in the infield or you want to bat first, second, third, fourth, fifth? We got to work. We work every day, and you got to work. You ain't daddy's not giving you any positions. You got to work. So he's young right now. If I was in Dion's position, or say I was a baseball coach of a college and, he had a bad outing as a pitcher, yeah, maybe I'd look at it differently. Maybe I'd try to protect him. If he was in his junior year and I thought it could hurt his draft status, I'd probably give you a little bit different answer. And my answer could change as he gets older. But until we get to that point, boys are going to work, and they're going to have to earn every ounce of everything they get, whether it's on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. We're going to work, and we're going to be the best that we can be. I don't know how good that's going to be. It might only be through age 10. It might be through however old, but I'm going to be here to work with them. We're not going to cut any corners. And if they turn out to like it and want to play, we'll play. And if they don't like it, that's fine. But if we're going to play and we're going to play on a good team, we're going to work. So, yeah.
All the most successful,
right now he plays right field.
All the most successful fathers, all the most successful father-son kids that I've ever been around in my entire life, from playing kid sports, whether it was baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter what the hell you play, are the dads that are harder on their own sons than they are the dad that gives their son everything. In the end, it always pays off if you're harder on your own boys. And I've seen both. I've seen those
go too far, though.
Well, you can go too far. I'm not saying that, because I've been around some of that too. That they way too hard on their kids. But the guy who just lets his son, where do you want to play? I want to play shortstop. Listen, you can't fucking tie your shoes and bend over. You don't need to be playing shortstop. But you've seen those guys that always put their son, oh, you want to be quarterback? You be quarterback. The guy that's harder on his own son, his kid is better off down the road than the ones that aren't. I mean, because you ain't going to have nothing given to you when you get older. I've seen high school head coaches that done that shit. And I'll tell you one of them that I thought padded his kid's stats when he was in high school was Colt McCoy's dad. Well, Colt McCoy turned out to be pretty fucking good.
Right.
But his dad, you know, he threw 60 touchdowns, I think, his senior year at Jim Ned and 2 interceptions. But if they were on the 1 inch yard line, they were throwing the ball. You know, they were going to throw a touchdown pass, 6 or 7 a game. But by God, he was a hell of an athlete, and his kid's a great ball player. But when he was growing up, I thought, well, they're padding his stats all the time. Well, they did, but it worked out pretty well.
But just knowing the grind that it takes and like the amount of work is a small part of you. Like, oh Lord, kid, like go be a doctor.
Well, I don't envision either of my kids playing professional baseball. If it works out that way, that's great. But man, I just want them to. Sports are more fun when you're good at them.
Yeah, true.
Everything.
I mean, that's just the fact. Life's more fun when you're good at it. I want them to have fun playing sports, man. And there's nothing more fun than being that guy that makes a big play in a big spot, comes up with a big hit, scores a game-winning touchdown, makes a game-saving catch, kicks the game-winning goal. So I want my kids to experience those highs and the joy. And with the highs are going to come some lows. But the more you work and the more you're prepared, the more you have a chance to be that guy whenever that situation comes up. And you're not always going to deliver, but when you're young and growing up, you're going to deliver more often than you don't. Once you get older, things start blowing themselves out. But I just want them to be good, and I want them to be good because it's fun when you're good. Right. And sometimes I worry because I'm pretty hard on them, man. Especially my older one. My younger son, he's pretty hard nosed. He's really little, but you can tell he's a little butthole. You know, like he's really hard nosed. But my older son is softer. He's really sweet and sensitive. He's a good ball player, but he's got a much softer personality, and I'm really, really, really hard on him. And sometimes I worry because I just like, I'll be going to practice and I'll just be like telling myself, be like, Ashur, like, don't say mean things that come in your head. Like if he does something wrong, just don't, you know, like just don't do it. And it's a struggle, man. I haven't been very successful at that very often. So I've got to keep working at that. I mean, there'll be literally times I'll be driving to a tournament or practice and I'll just be like praying. I'm like, Lord, please help me just not be awful today, you know, like, and everybody's like, you're like that with your kids and all the other kids. You're so encouraging and you're so kind and, oh, it's okay, buddy. Get them next time.
Right.
But with my kid, I just can't. Like we work so hard. And then when he goes out and do something completely opposite of what we've been doing every day that week, like it can't help but just like it just kills you because you put so much work in, you know. But yeah, man, whether they play ball or play sports, if that works out, that's fine. But man, I just want them to be successful and have fun. And the best way to do that is to work, because if you're good at it, you're going to be more successful and you're going to win more. And winning doesn't suck.
Yeah. The thing that I struggle with is like, I picked up, I picked up on like the flow of the games pretty easily. So like, I mean, I might not have been the best that was out there, but I at least like knew the game inside and out. And it's like, whenever they do something stupid, you're just like, that's the easiest fucking thing that you could have possibly imagined. And you just, you shit the bed. So, you know, I never was the most gifted athlete, but I knew where everybody was supposed to be at all times. I knew what the play was supposed to be. Like I at least got that part. You
were a lot harder. You're harder on yourself. You were a good athlete.
Well,
you were. You're just not as good as your brothers, maybe.
Right, but well, one brother, but
one of them was a better pitcher than you are. You were an exceptional little league ball player. You were a good catcher. You were smart, and you were a great high school football player. Very, very smart.
But I always knew, I knew the game. if that makes sense. Like, I just got that. And then like a lot of times they do stuff and you're like, why the hell would you, why? Like that's not even, you're not even in the ballpark of what you should have done there.
I think a lot of people don't realize, especially at a younger age, how, and even at an older age too, is how important sports IQ is, whether it's baseball IQ, football IQ, basketball IQ. Like,
right.
There's some stuff you just can't, yes, you can teach it, but some stuff you can't teach. Like there's some instincts, there's some stuff that just, you can tell when people's got it. And when you got the IQ and you got the off the charts physical skills and ability, that's what ends up being the guys that are playing on Sundays or playing on on TV. So man, IQ, the quicker kids can get that, like we got some kids on our team that maybe they're like not the most raw or the most physical, but man, their sports IQ for a young age is higher than other kids, and you can just see it, and it makes them, they're so much better. But yeah, I mean, having a high sports IQ is, not everybody's got it, and it can make quite a difference, especially before you reach the age where kind of everybody starts to get. There's some stuff later on that it can't be taught, but as far as just knowing the game itself before everybody gets it, man, when you're under that like 12, 13 age and you understand these sports that you're playing, you talk about a real difference maker. And then you combine that with some physical skills and you got what could turn out to be a beast out there on the field.
Yeah, like they'll hit it to kids. They'll hit it to third, and instead of just tagging, it'll be a force out to third, and instead of just tagging the bag or tagging the guy that's right in front of you, they'll throw it to first base and overthrow first base, and you're like, what the fuck are we doing, guys? You tag him.
That's why coaches.
And then they're like, well, we throw to first base. So it's like every time somebody comes up to bat, you're like, all right, what are we doing here, guys?
So that's why I think coaches' kids are such good athletes. Or not athletes, they just understand. You can tell,
brought up in it.
Yeah, coaches. We have a really good football team in Knox City right now. We're ranked number 1 in state and 6th man, and we have a coach's kid that's our quarterback, and he is like having a coach on the field. I have not gone to a lot of games, but he is a very talented football player, but he has a high IQ of what's going on and everything. And I think teams that have a kid like that have a huge advantage because they've got a coach on the football field with them. And it always is not a coach's kid.
Better, man.
Yeah. And he knows everything that's going on. Well, Andy, when you played, you were like that. You knew where everybody was supposed to be and whatever is going. And if you've got a teammate that knows everything, that can relate to everybody, it sure makes your team a whole lot better.
Maybe we need to watch sports more in the house. I feel like we watch enough sports, but for some reason, the kid makes some dumb decisions.
Your son?
Yeah, every once in a while. I don't know what it is. All right, let's switch.
Andy, my kid, a couple of weekends ago, ball caught a fly ball in right field, and there's a guy on first that's taking off, coming off the base. And my kid throws it to second base after catching a fly ball, and I'm just like, dude, I just wanted to like grab him by the throat and choke slam. I mean,
you sound like Ron Stanfield.
It was the easiest double play ever. The kid's 3/4 away to second. We throw the ball to second. Well, by the time the kid catches it, turns around, throws it to first, he's safe. It'd been ending double play.
It happens.
What do you do?
It happens. So let's
makes you want to drink beer,
right?
Yeah, not even a drinker.
Not even a drinker.
My dad, when he coached Little League baseball, this is no shit. My dad, if they made Bad News Bears about a man coaching, Walter Matthau played Ron Stanfield. Because Dad would throw batting practice. This is no shit. He would have a beer in his pocket, and he would have cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve, and he'd throw batting practice. And Dad was a damn good baseball. He didn't lose very many games, but he had a lot of good athletes always around him. But if you got your feelings hurt, he wasn't going to play with Ron Stanfield very long because he would hurt your feelings. But
he didn't care. I miss your dad, man. I miss our little Facebook conversations. He's a good man.
Well, he thought a lot of you. I can tell you that much. I think really that he thought more of you than he did me or Tony at the end.
That is true. He was not a fan.
He's a good man.
He's not a fan of Jeff and Tony towards the end there.
No, he did not like rules and the doctors, and he'd get madder than hell every time. The last thing I ever told my dad was Tony's an asshole, and he laughed. That was the last words I ever had to my dad. He smiled and laughed, woke up out of his whatever they had him on and comatose in hospice, and he looked up and laughed and closed his eyes, and that's the last thing we ever said to him. So
man,
he was a good
man.
He's a good guy. He'd be really happy about what's going on in life. So what do we got coming out with Dive Bombing? How's things going? Where are you going next? Y'all film and go everywhere all the time.
Yeah, man, it's a special time of year for us. You know, end of October, early November. Everything's kind of starting to come in play all over the country. We've kind of been making our rounds in September and October. Next up on the schedule, I actually took this little stretch off. We were supposed to play this last weekend, our fall state tournament, and it hadn't rained in 3 months and decides to pour the last 3 days. Well, they end up rescheduling it to next weekend. We got a bunch of kids out of town. But anyway, I say all that to say I set myself out of some trips to be home for this. The guys were over in Scotland about a week ago. And let's see, Jordan, well, they went to Saskatchewan. They hunted with Nick Coast up there. And Jordan's wrapping up, I think, in North Dakota today or tomorrow. He's going to go home, and then we'll head out to the Pacific Northwest and spend a little time with Matt and Judy.
The Widgeon King.
And then Great Lakes, we're going to go a little change of pace. We got our canvasbacks and redheads and bluebills coming. So we'll go hunt with Troy Pointer out there and a little open water diver action. Oh, it should be a lot of fun, a lot different than, you know, what most people have seen from us. So I'm really excited about that.
What does this diver hunt look like? Like, as far as like, I mean, you know, the setup and all that crap. Like, are you going to be like, you know, in the middle of the Great Lakes or what?
Well, I don't know all the answers to that. I know, I've talked to Troy a good bit, and he runs a guide service. We're just going to buddy hunt. He won't have any customers there, but it's called, I think it's St. Clair Guide Service. And he's got a big boat. I know it's really big because it's going to be me, Jake, Jordan. Judy was going to go, but he's closing on a house. And then Troy, and I think Troy asked, he was like, hey, you mind if I bring another buddy or something? I said, yeah. I don't think it's 20 foot deep or anything, because I was asking him about the depths of the rigs, and he said that I wanted to say that he said it's around, waist deep ish, but he said that the rollers, you need longer rigs because some days there'll be some pretty big rollers that'll, push your decoys around. But I think it's going to be a pretty big spread. We'll probably run 20 ish dozen, probably 7-8 dozen canvasbacks, 4 or 5 dozen redheads, few dozen bluebill. I think even some mallards, out there. So I think it's going to be quite a mixed bag of some puddle ducks and some divers. And, really the only diver duck hunting I've done has been over like minnow ponds and stuff,
right.
Shooting ruddy ducks and scaup and got a canvasback here and a redhead on the wall, but never done, the open water big boat diver hunting. So this will be not just fun for us, but hopefully for the people that follow us that are into divers, that have been following Dive Bomb for a while, kind of waiting and hoping we would have a product that would be applicable to their style of diver hunting. So hopefully we can showcase something fun and different that a lot of people haven't seen from us.
I would be a nervous wreck. I do not like water. So going out, like that, and then him telling you about the rollers or whatever, I would not be a fan of this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm Arkansas guys, we grew up on water hunting duck boats. So it's just nice for me not being in a 16 footer, but being in a 25 footer. So
I like my West Texas peanut fields.
I feel yeah.
Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to trip and fall. I'm going to get up and be just as dry as I was getting out of the pickup truck.
Would you hunt in that water in the St. Lawrence where we were at?
No, there's no way.
When you fished up in the St. Lawrence, did y'all hunt on the breaker waters right there where the water was fish? I mean, where they had the water went around the like jetty type deals?
Oh yeah. We caught some walleye.
Yeah, we did too. But by God, that's a lot of fucking.
That water's moving.
Yes.
Hey, our guys were ice fishing there in I want to say with a totally different guy. They were ice fishing on the St. Lawrence, and they went up there, and Jake was like, dude, we are literally ice fishing where we fished with them. And he said a couple of times Jordan was getting sketched out because he could, I guess when the ice shifts,
no.
you know, it's, and he said, he was like, yo, like what we got. He's like, it's good, man. It's just ice shifting. But boy, you talk about moving some water. You're right. I know exactly.
Right by the fish lock or the boat locks where the ships came in.
And David was saying like they'll hunt the river, like when in January when it's 20 below or whatever. Man. I couldn't imagine it.
That was a beautiful area.
I like my West Texas peanut fields, and I like the corn. I like the cornfields that they hunted. I like hunting that way. You know, the blind in the standing corn. I'm not a fan of water.
You guys still hunting in Oklahoma?
Very little. There's a lot of what's the word here?
The word is a bird's land on a field, and nothing ever gets any rest up there anymore like it used to. You can't rest nothing. I mean, if birds land on a field, there's 5 trucks driving around it all the time, and you just can't set nothing a day or two like you used to be able to. And it's been dry. I'm not saying we won't hunt up there anymore because we have got great contacts and places to go. I just don't know that we'll be hunting up there much anymore. We got plenty of birds here, and we've got. Nebraska? Yeah, we'll be in Nebraska in January. I actually have about 7 days left in Nebraska. So if you want to kill some big geese and some mallards, you need to holler at me.
Have you hunted Nebraska yet?
Yeah, I've hunted around Scottsbluff a couple times.
Okay, yeah, that's
pretty good time.
Right around the not
same. We're east of there, but
same kind of area.
Yeah,
Western Nebraska.
Western Nebraska,
but
special area for sure.
Yeah,
I gotta fly. I gotta kill them.
We should have a good season up there. We should have a good season here. We got a lot of food here, and we've got a lot of geese here. We're going to open up on Saturday, and we're loaded with birds. We should be a really good start.
So the St. Lawrence
2
specs
this year. Next year it changes to big time.
They're saying we could possibly get 5 specs next year, and that's too many in my mind.
We're going to be at 3. If they go to 5, we're going to be at 3 is going to be our limit.
That's a lot of pressure. Yeah. And specs in January already get tough.
A lot.
What's the deal with Arkansas? Yeah. Like it's the speckled belly capital of the world now.
It's crazy, man. I think we kind of started seeing this. The duck hunting has declined for a lot of people for different reasons, mostly for pressure. I think we're still getting the birds. We're getting them later than we used to. Birds are, they're hanging up north longer. There's more people farming for ducks and food. I mean, it's not rocket science. They're not getting to us as soon, and the calendar migrators are getting down early, and it provides good opportunity whenever the duck hunting, especially in the rice and duck capital of the world where everybody wants to go. People started learning like, hey, we can fill some voids with some below average duck hunting with these speckle bellies. And I think it just kind of kept getting better and better, and the duck hunting at times in a lot of places was getting slower and slower. And it's just it's probably an easier hunt, when it comes to not having to deal with the water and the setup and the blinds and, maybe day leases, a lot of day leases, people scout and run and gun and that type of stuff. So probably accessibility for more people to get involved in it. Equipment, doesn't have to be anything really over the top. If you got some blinds and some decoys and some people willing to give you some money to take them, the restrictions there's virtually none, which I think that's a problem. That's hard for me to say that I want more involvement from the Arkansas Game and Fish, but Jesus, somebody that grew up here, you really hate to see kind of what it's coming to. I don't know. I guess I'll stay neutral on that one. I don't know. I just know that I don't really want government involved in more stuff, but it's hard for me to say that whenever I'm saying that it's gotten to be too much because there's no restrictions for anybody to run. But I do feel like if people need to run, they need to be doing it the right way, and they need to be carrying insurance, to protect themselves and their customers. And I think that a lot of people probably aren't doing that. I think a lot of people are just, if they got somebody that'll take them, they'll take them. And that's probably why it's so pressured. But the specs more and more are wintering here. Now it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next 5 or 10 years. If this stays with the pressure, where do they go, or where do they shift to, or what happens? But it's gotten pretty crazy. Eastern Arkansas has gotten pretty dang crazy. I don't know.
There should be an entry level.
More people hunting. I like people in the field, but I'd like people to be, if they're going to go or get taken, they need to have a great experience. And I don't know that they're getting that with everybody that's out there.
For any guide service, there needs to be an entry level. Like you should have. I am all for like a guide's license, like you see in a lot of states, just because it would take. Now, I also understand, like when Jeff started, like you couldn't have afforded to pay whatever a guide's license is, a couple $1,000, whatever it is.
No, I'd have been out of business. But I did
your business
right.
Your business would have never started, but you got insurance and you took it seriously.
By year 2 I was. Yes,
a lot
completely.
of the fly-by-night guys that you see that are just in it for a quick payday because they got 5,000 geese on their field, I don't know. I'm kind of like you. I'm most of the time I am for the least amount of government involvement, but I think there should be some sort of guide's license. Minimum, if you're going to take people out, you should have to carry liability insurance.
That's all I would want them to do. I just want $1 million. $1 million liability insurance policy is what everyone should have. I saw a post in one of the Arkansas deals. A guy was bitching because he thinks you need to go to first aid school. You need to go do this. You need to go do this. You need to go do that. Everything that he wanted to do is a good idea. But every time you do something like that, you're just asking the government to give you permission to do what you want to do for a living.
Right.
And I don't like that at all. But I think everyone should have to have $1 million liability insurance. I think if you're 19 years old and you go get insurance and you've never guided a day in your life, then you ought to have the opportunity to guide if you want to. This is the United States of America, and I believe in capitalism, and I believe you ought to have your chance. If you don't make it, you're not going to make it anyways. I'm going to guess 75% of the guys that get in the hunting business don't last 3 years anyways. But you have to have liability insurance, should be the only prerequisite. I don't like the North Dakota deal. Well, you got to work for somebody for 2 years and you got to do this for 2 years. Screw that. If you want to pay for your insurance, go get in the business.
So no guide's license, just insurance.
No. But that would be your guide's license, is to prove that you have insurance.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's anything else a standard that's required by the state.
Nothing.
Who the hell's going to teach it?
Well, I understand that.
I mean, because they're going to grandfather in anybody that's already been in business for a long time. And, it's, that's me personally. Trust me, I would love for there to be 3 outfitters in the state of Texas like there used to be when I first got. It was easy to do it. Well, it's not so easy now. Oklahoma is the biggest shit show of all right now. Jesus, honestly, I bet at least 10 new outfitters that have messaged me that have started in Oklahoma just this year alone. 10. Well, statewide, was there 50 or 60 new ones? I don't know. I don't know the answer to it all. It's just like fishing guides. You go to South Padre Island right now, there's probably 500 fishing guides that are fishing for trout. They have to have a Coast Guard license is all they have to have. A captain's license.
I don't know. We got to do something.
Yeah. I guess my biggest concern with it just becomes, I don't think it's that it's people that's guiding. It's their customers and what they're being sold on. Like if people are going to get into the sport and get taken to go on a guided hunt, I think it's important that especially young people or people that's never gone before, that they have a good introduction to the sport. And I'm not saying that means you have to kill limits, but because that's not reality. That's not hunting. You're not paying for limits. We all understand that. But there does have to be, I think, a certain level of professionals along with being a guy or running an outfitter. I don't know, man. It's just in my state, it just seems. I don't know. I think it's $35 or $25 or $35. I think that's like all you got to pay, and then it's just, done deal. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how sustainable it is. I know a lot of people that were doing the snow goose conservation hunts that had been doing it a long time. They've just backed out and left because they're just like, man, it's kind of like what you guys were saying in Oklahoma, like good guides, like good outfitters, really good ones that are just like, man, it's just gotten crazy. You just can't, the birds, there's so much pressure. There's, a lot of times your birds, even if I'm like calling them your birds, the birds you're hunting, they might be getting pushed around or people are kind of harassing them. If you're not around or harassing them on their roost and they're coming off uneasy, and it's just, I don't know. It's gotten a little crazy out there, but
so
I don't know.
As the consumer needs to be doing more background checks on everybody. You can look up on me. I had bad hunts last year. I'm going to have bad hunts this year. It's hunting. It's going to happen. Well, it's not because we don't put out any effort. It's just because it's hunting sometimes. But you need to do your background check on every outfitter you go to. And if you're going to a guy that's been in business 1 or 2 years, you need to talk to somebody besides his Uncle Cleo to get a reference on what you expect. Because there are guys out there that are starting outfitters up that are showing pictures, and these people don't know. A guy lives in a big business, works in a big office somewhere, and he's like, hey, my cousin told me to look this guy's up on Instagram. He's got some pictures. Well, he's got 4 pictures of shooting some birds. They don't realize he only has one place to hunt. He's only been in business for a year or something. And there are some guys out there that are starting up businesses that run a really good business. It'll be good outfitters. But do some homework as a consumer and make sure you're going with somebody that's got a little skin in the game. And that's the biggest problem I think a lot of these guys do is they just book a hunt because someone's got some Instagram pictures and the guy has no chance in hell of being in business in 2 years. He's taking money. Get a reputable guy that's been around a long time. And guys are going to have good days and bad days. It's part of, especially if you hunt 7 days a week. I don't care what outfitter you go to in the United States of America. That guy's going to have a bad hunt this year. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if it's weather related, birds left, it's going to happen.
No doubt.
But, as long as, and this is just kind of me speaking, but like what I would look for in a guide is, somebody that's got decent equipment. Obviously you can't tell how many fields that they have to hunt, but I mean, just, kind of get past that Instagram profile because anybody can be anybody online, but I don't know. There's just a lot of ways to kind of bamboozle people out of a little bit of money. So I feel bad for those people. A lot of people, especially like now, like with the economy the way that it is, people save all year long to go on 1 or 2 hunts a year, and to get swindled by a fly-by-night guy, it puts a black eye on everybody else that's trying to do it the right way.
I was actually looking up the numbers in our licensing system, and it looks like, if I'm looking at the right thing, because I'm not guiding, I'm not buying these, so I don't look at these regularly, but it looks like our non-resident guide license, it looks like it's $500 now, and I think that's new. The resident's $25. So
it's $2,500 for a resident non,
good start.
$2,500 or $25.
No, $500 for a guide license, non-resident in Arkansas. It's $25 for a resident.
What are the prerequisites? What do you have to do in Arkansas to buy? Like if I wanted to go to Arkansas and start guiding a hunt, I just got to pay $500 and I can guide.
Yeah.
So the state of Arkansas isn't doing anything except collecting money off of an out-of-state guy. They're not making him have any kind of credentials with him other than pay $500.
I could be wrong, but no, I don't think so. I think if you have this license right here, you're all set.
That's just the bullshit way of the government making more money off people. I don't have a problem with that if you said it's $500, you got to have proof of insurance or whatever the hell they want to do. But all they're doing is collecting $500, so the game warden has to make sure you have a guide license, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, but if an in-state guide wants to do it, it's $25.
25.
I know why they're trying to keep out-of-state guys. I understand that completely. And if I lived in Arkansas, if I lived anywhere and my public water was covered up with out-of-state people, I would be upset too. I would. I pay taxes year-round. That's a state facility. It would piss me off also. But if I was also on that restaurant in small town Arkansas.
Yeah, but our guys go to, they cover up Mississippi and Tennessee during turkey season.
Right.
Yes.
So we go to all the beaches down in Florida.
No, I understand that the economy wise. Can you imagine that small town restaurant in North Dakota? They make a living, or in Canada or wherever, make a living during hunting season. Every small town in Texas during deer season has got a hill country, especially. They welcome deer hunters. People come in, they eat, they spend money. That's their busy time of year. I understand that. I know in Arkansas around that White River, those people make a living off out-of-state people. So it's a catch-22 deal. But I do understand. A guy from Kansas called me, and he was telling me about the lake by his house. And he said, I drive by that lake every single day. I live here. I own 10 acres right next to a refuge type deal. And I used to hunt there all the time. But he said, now it takes 2 or 3 hours to even put your boat on for all the out-of-state people. I understand his frustration. I really do. That would get really old.
Yeah, it would. Where, of all the places that you've got to hunt with Dive Bomb, give me your top 3. I'm not going to make you list your top 1 because that's going to be tough, but top 3.
3. Well, my favorite place in the world hunting easily is at home in the woods in East Arkansas, in the woods at home. Number 1, no question. There's not a close second. Hunting out in Wyoming, the skinny water stuff, with like 3 guys and little tiny guns.
Yeah.
That's pretty special. Man, just picking out greenheads, knowing like, hey, 10, 15 minutes, we're going to have another single or pair, group of 5 come in, and I'm going to pick my 1 or 2. It's my turn. That's pretty amazing. So that's up there really high. Those late September, early October, those combos up in Alberta are pretty special. When you catch that migration right, when you're getting the snows and the specks, little Canadas, big Canadas, the mallards are starting to get a little color, pintail's starting to get a little color. And you got the opportunity to shoot a lot of birds in one hunt just because of the number of species that are using that field. Just insane combo shoots. Those Alberta combo shoots, they're up there really, really high. Out there with Matt in the grass, the widgeon is really cool. It's really, really unique. Big bunches of widgeon spinning around and whistling, and that's pretty cool. You don't get to see that in a lot of different places. So, I mean, those areas are all really, really unique. But honestly, even if I could even go as far as like species and areas that are, super special for different species at different times of year. So, man, it's so hard to just limit it. But I'm a duck hunter. I love to duck hunt. So most of my stuff in the top are going to be geared toward ducks. But I mean, I can think of places if you say, okay, big honkers, that answer would be different than, or you could say snow geese. Like, man, early, way up in Saskatchewan, like where Nick's at. If you catch those birds that 2nd, 3rd week of September, and you're getting those little tundra juvies, they call them tundra toddlers coming down, like, are you kidding me? It's crazy. Like you could set 6 silhouettes and, at shooting light, you'll have, 2,000 sitting on the ground. I mean, it's nuts. So really for every species, you could even almost go as far as different areas at different times, because big honkers in September, I might give you a different answer than January when it's freezing cold. But man, for me, it's always going to go to ducks. Anything at the top for me personally is going to go to ducks, usually ones with green heads. But
I did not know snow goose hunting could be so fun. We snow goose hunted with Quill Lake Outfitters in Saskatchewan, and like whenever I got the itinerary, I'm not gonna lie, when I got the itinerary, I was like, eesh, this might not be all that great. This might not be that fun of a trip. Watching those snow geese And like one of the guys was like, all right, they're about to start racing. And I'm not a snow goose guide, so I don't know what the hell that means, but like it didn't take me very long. And like you see the ones at the back start like whiffling and maple leaf and trying to get to the front. And I'm like, oh shit, that's what he means by racing. But I did not know that you could do it like that. It was amazing.
It was a great time.
It was crazy. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that snow geese are going to decoy like early season speckle bellies, basically.
When the guy tells us we're going to shoot 100, I'm thinking there's no fucking way. And then about 30 minutes into it, and we've got 20 birds already. I thought this sucker knows what he's talking about.
We might do it. So
do it in your house shoes too.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Jeff, did you shoot?
He did.
Jeff shot about 400 rounds. I put on a shooting clinic one day, Asher. I'm telling you.
He did not.
I did with the 28 gauge.
Better than average.
Did he?
He did. He was better than average. He had one shot that probably shouldn't have happened the way that it did.
Smoked him.
Defied the odds of gravity and just what I know about, shooting. It was legitimately a 15, legitimately 50 plus yards going away. Kind of Jeff swung awkwardly and nailed it. So
the 28 gauge
impressive.
boss makes a big difference.
It was impressive what he did. I'm not going to lie.
I shot a lot. I had a good time. I hunted more this year in October and pulled the trigger more in October than I have probably in many years combined. We shot a ton of shells at Quill Lakes. Did not shoot as many shells at St. Lawrence, but shot out quick every morning.
Right.
Absolutely the most wonderful times I've had in a long time were those hunts. Really good times.
Does that make you miss hunting at all down there? Does that make you want to get in?
Yeah, and I hunted more last year than I have in the last couple of years. I won't hunt opening weekend. We're way too busy here. I won't get to hunt this opening weekend, but I'm going to hunt. The Pacific boys are going to be here the 13th, 14th, and 15th, and I'm going to hunt with them at least one morning. And then a buddy of mine, one of my best friends in the whole world, is going to be here, the kid I grew up with, and he's going to be here the week after, or the week before, or the week after Thanksgiving. I think it's the week after Thanksgiving, and I'm going to go hunt with him at least one morning here. He's here 2 or 3 days, and I'm going to go hunt with him once. So I'm going to do some more hunting this year. I had a great time, but I can get away there, and I don't have to worry about nothing. Here, if I go hunt, after 30 minutes, I need to get up and go scout because I got to take care of business, and business comes first before my pleasure does. So, but I am going to hunt some.
Sure. Similar staff this year?
Yeah, we got everybody coming back, but we lost a couple of guys that I'm really going to miss. But matter of fact, I'll have a guy probably be here in a couple hours. But all my guys come in tonight and tomorrow. Most of them will all start being here, and we'll start getting ready. We lost a couple. Well, I think we lost 2 people. And we replaced 2 people, but everybody else will be basically the same guys. Blake and Josh won't be here till Thanksgiving, but Josh Moore will be here, and Logan will be here. But basically the same guys. We usually keep 75 to 80% of the same guys year in and year out. And then we'll switch over. And guiding's one of those deals. It's hard to find guys like Dusty Brown that have been doing it a long time that just continue to guide that are still at the top of their game.
Sure.
Plus, Blake got married, so like. He's on borrowed time.
Yeah, when he gets one past the goalie, that'll be the end of that deal.
You get a wife at home and things start to change. So if we get 2 more years out of Blake, I'll be shocked. Just because, he's got responsibilities at home now. He's got to be a husband.
Oh, Blake.
How old is Blake?
30, 28.
Late 20s. I don't think he's 30 yet, but he's been here 7 or 8 years now. So that's about the max. And that
Stoner married or got an old lady?
Got a serious girlfriend. He'll be here late November. He'll be here after Thanksgiving. She wanted him home for the holidays.
Cool.
Maryland. That's, he lives in Maryland. So like that's 24 hours on the road. It's not like, at least Blake, it's an 8-hour drive for Blake. That's not a big deal, but Stoner, it's 24 hours by car, and it's not an easy flight. So, it's a little bit harder for him to get away. I don't know. I mean, things change. It's going to be sad when those guys leave, just for me, like selfishly, just because, then I'll truly be the old guy. least with those guys, I at
You
least
still connect to them a little
I
bit?
at least feel a little bit younger. Like some of these young kids get here, and I don't have anything in common with them.
You ought to be me.
I think my buddy might be coming there this weekend, or maybe next weekend.
Who is it?
Tyler Taunton.
Tyler will be here on Sunday. He'll be here Sunday. I talked to him on the phone 2 days ago. He comes in Sunday with his dad. I met them at Delta. Really nice guy.
Dripping Springs, I think, is where he lives.
So what's next for Dive Bomb? Because I mean, from where y'all have started to where you are now, it's not even the same company. You know what I mean? I mean, what's the next mountain to climb?
I mean, I fully agree with you. I would have never thought that I'd be talking to you right now when I first talked to Jeff on the phone when I was in Long Island in 2018, 17 or 18. It's been crazy, but we've got an owner that, he loves growing and expanding. He loves just moving forward, creating new jobs and new opportunities for people. I mean, just what we've done in-house with the growth and indirect job growth from people that we've worked with. Like, our owner loves that. I think he loves the process just as much as he loves the result. It's just like his farm there, Kings Bend in St. Louis. He loves farming, working on that farm and putting in hard hours. And I think he actually likes that more than killing the ducks that come out of it. I think he likes seeing other people get to go from HQ or front office and go kill their ducks. I think that means more to him than him going out and doing it. And I think it's a similar approach with Dive Bomb. He loves the growth of Dive Bomb and just kind of seeing where it can go and challenging himself and his employees to continue to step up and learn new things and new ideas depending on what department you're in, whether you're in engineering and it's Tommy and Mike, or customer service with Kyle D and Jake, or if it's operations with Aaron and Andy, or marketing with myself and Jake Jordan. He loves challenging his employees and moving forward and just continuing to do exciting things based on what our customers want and the direction they kind of take us. So to answer your question, what's next? With Cody Stokes, that's kind of a hard question to answer, but I would say what's immediately next is we will continue to expand on what got us to the dance, which is our decoys. We will expand on we've got some exciting things with silhouettes. We've got, a lot of people have seen the Snow Goose full bodies coming. And there will be others to follow. There will be other full bodies coming. There will be more blinds coming, layout style blinds. Hey, what do you do to make it different? Well, it's a layout blind. It's not a rocket ship. But we're gonna figure out how to make them more functional, how to store easy, how to carry them easy, how to be able to put them together when you're in the dark or it's cold and you don't want to take your glove off. We don't want pins. Dive Bomb's not reinventing the wheel. I mean, there's a few things we've done some things that are pretty impressive and pretty unique that people don't want to give us credit for, and that's okay. But Dive Bomb's not. But who's reinventing the wheel? Every company that comes out, nobody is. What is that Mark Twain quote? He's talking about new ideas, and there's basically no new ideas. You put them in some sort of mental kaleidoscope, spin them around, and you come out with your version of it. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're hunters. We're waterfowl hunters that we hunt with a lot of really good waterfowl hunters all over the country in a lot of different conditions. Whether it's the environmental conditions, the weather, time of year, fresh water, salt water, whatever it is. We hunt with a lot of guys that do this every single day, and we figure out where products that are good where they can be better, products that are bad that could be good with some improvements, maybe a good idea but with poor execution of the idea, or poor materials that were used, or materials that were not built to withstand the intended use. And what we do is we try to make it better, functional, stronger, more practical, offered at a better price, and give people insanely good customer service to where they want to continue to do business with Dive Bomb Industries. So we're going a lot of different directions, man. We got decoys, we're going to expand. We got blinds, we're going to expand. Tech gear is going to be huge for us. I mean, we're releasing waders in 2 weeks. We've got outer shells coming. We got bibs coming. So our tech gear line will continue to expand aggressively and rapidly, using the most high quality components that we can possibly use. And I don't envision it slowing down anytime. I mean, we're just constantly moving forward. We're hiring more people all the time, and we're just going to keep expanding as our customers want us to expand, and as our cash flow allows us to expand. You know, Cody is the principal interest of Dive Bomb Ministries. We don't have backing, coming in from anywhere else. It's right there with us. So when we move product and have busy seasons, we have more cash available to go out and do more things. People say, why does this take so long? It's like, well, one, the development process to do something right takes a long time, but two, big purchase orders require a lot of money. And, and we're one guy. That's it. It started from one guy, and it's still with one guy. And we've got a lot of pieces of this puzzle, people that have just done a wonderful job as they've been plugged in, guys in the past that are no longer with us that have done a wonderful job. And we've just been very blessed. We've had a lot of support from our customer base and the people that support us close, whether it be our families or other coworkers pushing one another to keep, grinding whenever we're, feeling maxed out or just dog tired, and just knowing like, hey, we got to keep pushing. We got to keep moving forward. Maybe we got to put in a lot of extra hours this week, but it's going to be worth it, So it's been a lot of fun. Dive Bomb is a very exciting company. It's a very dynamic, and I really like it. I'd be completely lying if I just sat here and told you that it was easy and it wasn't stressful and it didn't wear us out. We didn't worry about it. We didn't have concerns about different things. That'd be like what we were talking about, people saying God's kill limit on every hunt. It don't work like that. We stress out and we worry and we have concerns, and we want to do right by people. I mean, that's just the bottom line is if we sell our product to somebody, I hope they have a great experience with the product, and I hope the experience leads them to want to come back and, continue to be a customer of Dive Bomb Industry. So we're just doing the best we can in every area to keep moving forward. I know that's a very long-winded answer to answer your question, what's next? But
it's just crazy. Like when you first came out here, it was basically you, I think it was just you. It was you, and you had a phone, and it went on Instagram, and that was it. And now
his dad.
Yeah, no, I just meant like directly from Dive Bomb. You came out with your cell phone and an Instagram account, and the hunt went on Instagram stories basically, and then you'd kind of mash it all together and create something that would a little bit longer form. But now you got basically 2 media teams, and going everywhere. Every flyway, you're in Scotland. So, I mean, it's just, it's impressive. It's impressive what you guys have done. Truly is.
The owner has allowed so much creative freedom, and that's been probably the coolest part is Cody. I'm not always going to make every decision's not going to be great. Every post is not going to be great. I'm not going to market every product great, but I'm always going to give my best effort. kind of going back to what we were saying in sports, we might not all be the greatest, but I promise you I'm going to give you my best effort every single day. And I think he's always known that. I think he's always known that whatever we do, we might not always nail it, but we're going to do the best we can to nail it. And he's given us the freedom to do that. He kind of takes the chains off. It's no like micromanaging. He's not sending me messages after I make a post that he doesn't like, or I've made some bad posts and I've made some good posts, made some good videos, made some bad videos. Learned a lot, in the time that I've been doing this. Been unofficially with Dive Bomb a long time, but even before Dive Bomb, I was doing outdoor social media a long time. Early days playing minor league baseball. 2012, I think, when Instagram came around, started doing that. So, I've learned a lot over the years, and kind of learned what makes people click, what makes customers, what gets them excited. And then having to evolve with the different platforms. Different stuff works on different platforms. And our owner has allowed us to make moves however we see fit to fit whatever platform that we're promoting the products on. And it's been awesome. He's a wonderful leader. I'm very thankful for him. I love him like a brother. And he's changed my life, and he's changed a lot of people's lives that have been involved with Dive Bomb, whether currently, in the past, and hopefully thousands of customers all over the world. So it's been amazing.
It's a true success story. Well, listen, we're going to let you go. It's been 2 hours. But before we let you go, your prediction on the World Series.
Series is tied 1-1. Man, I think Arizona should be up 2-0 right now, but they're not. It's 1-1. And I think the Texas Rangers are more talented, but man, Arizona's playing really, really good. They're swinging the bats. They're pitching it well. They're a scary team right now. They were the last team in. They got hot at the right time. And as you know, in sports and baseball, if you can just get in and get hot, anything could happen. That's why wild card teams win the World Series all the time. Both of these teams, I think, were wild card teams, but Arizona was the last one in. But I'm still going to predict Texas, and I think it's going to go to 7 games. I think Texas is going to win in 7 games. They're a more talented team, no doubt about it, top to bottom, but Arizona's hot, and they're scary right now. So they could shock the world.
Did you see Mad Dog Russo said that if Arizona got past the Phillies, he would retire? I'm interested to see if he did or not.
He did not.
He did not?
No, they're calling him out on that shit. I'm taking Arizona in 6.
Just because you're pessimistic?
I just know how fucking things go for
Texas.
The Texas Rangers. They should have beat St. Louis a couple of years ago, and they'll find a way to fuck it up. So
that's Jeff for you.
Well, it's just the way it's always been. I've been watching the Rangers since 1980.
For my grandfather, who is a diehard Rangers fan, I hope they do it.
Oh, I hope they win it too.
They've been there twice.
What's your prediction though?
It's 1-1. I think they win it. I think the Rangers win it in 6.
Baseball hopes they win it in the 7.
Oh, for sure.
That's where the money's at, is Rangers in 7. But I think Arizona wins it in 6. I hope I'm wrong. It's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys. Every week I pick Dallas to win, hoping they fucking lose. But I pick them every week on a pick them just because if they win, I'm like, well, at least I got it right. But down inside, I'm always pulling for them to get beat. So I figure if I go for Arizona, I hope Texas wins. I would pull for the Taliban over fucking Dallas Cowboys.
Why? What'd they do to you?
I just don't. I grew up a Redskin fan, and you can't be a Redskin fan and a Cowboy fan. I don't dislike any of the players. I don't think I've ever hated a Dallas Cowboy football player. I just can't pull for him. I'm not a big Jerry Jones fan, but Jerry Jones is a great owner, I think. And if I was playing, he would be my first pick to who I wanted to play for. But I'm just not a Cowboys fan. I never have been. I like Dak Prescott a lot. I think he's a really classy dude. I think he gets a lot of bad press. I don't think Dallas is a Super Bowl contender this year. I think they're a good team. I think they'll probably win one playoff game, but Dak will do what Dak always does, and something will happen. They'll blame the loss on him, but I'm just not a Cowboy fan.
Okay.
We got those fully flocked specs in. So we got young team of guides that are eager to break open the boxes and put those together. I actually got that idea from the St. Lawrence River guys. because they said that they started running fully flocked, and it's been a game changer for them. Like as far as like getting birds to like in the decoys, like down and like just all season long. So I'm gonna save them though. I'm not gonna run the fully flocked until I need a curveball.
They look good, man. You know, those harsh sun days, those tough days, you know, hard sun starts coming through low on the horizon, you know, especially early in the morning, especially if you're on one of those days where, you know, the sun's pounding them on that front side, same direction that the birds are coming from. I think that that could be a situation where you could really see a difference. I'll tell you what, man, you can put that thing right. I mean, you can angle it just right with the sun, and that sucker just absorbs it completely. They're amazing.
It's gonna be my.
Keep me updated.
Gonna be my.
I'd like to hear.
Yeah, I definitely will.
I'd like to hear if you notice a difference. I mean, some people they say, dude, I've run the V2s, the V2Fs, and the V2FFs, and I just can't tell you, man. They just kind of all the same. I've had some people that say it's made a difference. There's no doubt it's made a difference, and I've had other people that just kind of stay neutral. So I'll be interested to hear you. As far as a spec guy, I think you would be the first guy. I mean, there's a lot of guys running the AFF and the FF specs, but the first guy that I would actually communicate with back and forth that has had a ton of experience running the standard unflocked, this would be the first big scale feedback that I would actually get on those, as opposed from just a 1 or 2 hunts here and there. So yeah, after you get an opportunity to see the kind of the body of work compared to seasons past and what you look for and the way they're acting, I'll be very interested to hear what you have to say. I'll keep you in the loop,
but it's gonna be my change up for when I need it. I'm gonna pull it out. Asher, it's been a lot of fun, my friend. It's been 2 hours. You've been more than generous with your time. We appreciate you. I'm gonna kill that dog. More than generous with your time, and I would love to share a blind with you in the future again. I know you're a busy man, but we'd love to have you out here in West Texas one of these days.
We'll do it. It's been a couple years, man, and we've kind of been rounding around and rotating around, giving people different looks and stuff. But I think it's about time that we get ourselves back out that way and come see you guys. So we'll see if we can't get something lined up for.
If not, we'll see you at Turkey, my friend.
Yep. See you, buddy. Happy Halloween.
Okay.
Take those kiddos trick or treating. Stay safe.
See you, bud. Bye.
All right, we'll do it. Bye.
Ashur Tolliver. I think they're delivering propane. I need to go get this.
It's either that or Happy ringing the doorbell like a fucking noob.
He'll be singing back there. All right.
What was he doing in that video?
Singing. Yeah, I can't remember what song it was, but he was singing.
So we got Happy's first, then it's Logan, and then Little Josh.
Little Josh.
I got that backwards.
Nope. That'll all be there tomorrow, I think.
And then it's time to start brushing.
Yep, getting ready to go. Got a busy weekend ahead of us. We doing
together.
Me and Andy got us a podcast to do tomorrow, so we look forward to y'all hearing us tomorrow.
We look forward to y'all hearing us.
Yes, we love for y'all to listen to our bullshit.
Perfect.
Thank you for listening to us. God bless you. Thank you, Ashur, for being on here. Go by divebombindustries.com. Get you some new toys. Thanks. Bye.
Go check out all of our wonderful sponsors. Head over to Dive Bomb Industries. Dive Bomb they've been on board with us since day one. Great company. Boss Shot Shell, Shin Gear, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, Dirty Duck Coffee, Pacific Calls, MLR Graphics, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, and Hemp Hill Farm.